Hey everyone, Board Game Brody here with our channel Let's Table It, where we get games to the table, like the A.R.T. project by the A.R.T. This is a cooperative game where you and the other players you're playing with play as the A.R.T. rescue team fighting against the White Hand organization to bring back priceless art pieces that they've stolen. It's up to you and your team versus the game, where you choose which mission card to play on your turn, which will use up resources and add White Hand agents onto the board, and then give you resources as well. And then that card will give you clues that will need to be matched up with other clues to then get a piece of art to a location on the board. You and your team will then go to that location, fight the White Hand agents located there, and secure the priceless art piece. If you rescue the 7 pieces of art before the deck runs out, you and your team will win the game. So here is the game all set up. There are several maps that you can use and play as, and it's recommended to start with the Japan map, and then you can play through the other maps as they add in additional rules specific to each map. So this is the Japan map here, but again, you could play as this one, this one, this one. There are different maps that you can use to play on. Each player plays as a character on this ragtag team. Depending on how hard you want to play the game, you can start with either 1 to 4 health each, and we have mostly played starting with 3 health ourselves, and you will all start on the starting location shown on the map. You will use resources as a team in this game besides your own health. You will start with 3 of each resource put on the van board. Fuel is used for moving, guns used to help fight, and the walkie-talkies used to hire allies to help when you are fighting. Each is limited to 6 each, and when using resources, they are discarded from the team's supply. If there are not enough of a resource, then that player may spend one of their own health tokens for each missing resource. But you cannot do this if you do have the resource to spend. When resources are gained, they are placed back onto the van board and used as a team. When gaining health, that player can choose to either keep it for themselves or give it to another player if they are in need as well. So there are no turns in the game. Players decide who goes in what order that they think is best. But there are 4 phases in a round. First, each player will draw 2 mission cards. The top card shows a symbol, or maybe even 2, so that players can decide in which order that they would like to draw their mission cards. Then players discuss in which order they would like to play those cards in. Just 1 card. Sometimes you might want a resource that's not present currently, and another player could, play a card to gain that resource that you can then use for your mission card. So you need to talk amongst yourselves. So players then play 1 of their 2 mission cards. They will remove the resource shown on the top, add White Hand agents to the locations shown in the red, and gain resources shown on the 3rd row. This card is then flipped over to show the clues as to where the stolen art is located. As cards continue to be added to a group of cards, whenever there are 3 clues of the same icon, then one of the art pieces has been located, and you'll place an art piece in the matching location of those clues, and then those cards are all discarded. The player's second card also, when they're choosing their 2, is discarded at the end of the round. Next is the movement phase, where players can decide if and how and in what order they would like to use their fuel tokens to move their player pawns in different locations. Each movement uses 1 fuel. Again, if you are out of fuel, then you can use your health token to still, take that action. After movement, if there are any art pieces in a location with a player pawn and there are no agents, this art piece is added to the art track, placing it on the furthest left empty space. This track is important because it will determine how hard it is to fight agents, how much it costs to recruit more allies, and it'll track if you have won the game by getting all the art pieces on the track. So this black number shows how many walkie-talkies it costs to gain a black ally die. Between any of the phases, players can decide to trade in their walkie-talkies for additional black dice to use when fighting. This cost is the current black die value furthest to the left on the art track that is not covered up. As you can see, as you add art, it becomes cheaper to get these dice. But it's also more important to recruit allies as you go on, because the red box shows a number of the value that you will add to other factors that will need to you will need to be when fighting the White Hand agents. After movement is the fight phase, and you can choose to engage in fighting or not, even if you have agents on your current location. Fighting is always optional. And there is no turn order in this phase as well. You can choose the order of fights. When fighting, you will choose a leader, and this is if there are more than one players present there, then the leader will be the player who potentially will lose a health if not successful in the fight. The leader takes their own die, plus any unlocked ally dice. Any other players also in the same fight will also roll their die as well. And all these dice are then totaled together. And if your value on your dice are equal to or more than the value of the agents, their value is done by counting up the total number of agents in the current location, adding it to the threat level, which is the furthest uncovered red box on the track, and then add any agents placed on the White Hand spot. This is the value for the agents. As the game continues, this value will increase with each art piece that you retrieve. So you will then compare your values, and if yours is equal to or higher, then you will win the fight. If there is an art piece in a city that you win, then you immediately collect it and add it to the track, instantly changing the threat level with those agents. Now, if the value is lower than the agents, you have some options. You can discard a collected clue card to re-roll any one die. You can spend a gun token to increase your value by 2, or you can admit defeat and the leader loses 1 health token. The last phase at the end of the round triggers any city with 5 or more agents to become a lost city, and you will discard the agents and place a lost city token on top of it. From now on, whenever an agent is added to this city or any lost city, it will be placed on the White Hand spot on the art track, increasing the fight value that the White Hand agents fight with. In addition, you cannot stop in or go through a lost city with your movement, and if you somehow end in a lost city at the end of the round, then you must move out of that during the next movement phase. You will continue taking turns trying to collect 3 clues matching a city that will add an art piece to that city, and then you will try to move there, fight the agents, and collect the stolen art to add to your track. And if you get all 7 art pieces collected, you and your team win the game. If any player ever runs out of health tokens, you all lose the game. If you continue drawing cards and the end tile is revealed, you will continue drawing the needed cards to finish the round. And if you don't have all the art collected, then you lose the game. If you cannot place an agent or a lost city marker because there are no more, then you lose the game. There are 6 missions included. Japan plays with just the normal starting rules, but Egypt starts with art in the very north location, and you can move north for free at any time during the game, but spend fuel to move south. Since all locations are also in that line, you will be strategically position yourself, but you can always move north for emergencies for free. The United States causes you to place clue cards in front of the player who plays them. So instead of collecting clues as a group, you will need to, break up and do it individually as a team. Also, if you end your movement through Dallas, you gain a gun for free. Scandinavia changes movement, so red costs 2 fuel, and beige string, it costs 1 fuel to move. And when collecting art pieces from the different cities, you will also gain its city effect as well. The Polynesia Islands start with no agents on the board, and you can move anywhere on the map for 1 fuel token. There are 2 islands for each art symbol, and you will be adding agents to both of those islands with the art symbol showed from your mission cards. And when collecting the 3 clues, you can choose which island to put the art piece on. Lastly, Rio de Janeiro. Cities are neighborhoods instead. Movement is free along the dotted red lines, and art pieces must be collected in the next neighborhood indicated on the art piece track, in that order that is shown. But you can move art with your pawn from place to place, even with agents present, until you get to the neighborhood that you want to collect it in. If a neighborhood hasn't received its art piece yet and you have placed a lost city token on it, then you will immediately all lose the game. And, well, that's the A.R.T project with 6 different maps to play. that are slightly different rules as you learn the game. And you will need to be on the same page with all the players in the game to get to work done together to find that stolen art. The game is all about the mission selection cards, and you're trying to find out how you can move things forward with the cards that you have. Like, you should focus on getting walkie-talkies to gain more ally dice to help it with fighting, making that easier. And at the same time, strategically placing art pieces in locations that you want to go to so that you can retrieve them. What you don't want to do is leave multiple areas with agents and then be forced to add additional agents onto those locations and then have two big fights that you really need to go to. And then slowly things get harder as you lose cities because of that, and make the white hand strength higher as you add more of those agents to that spot. You will want to choose when is a good time to add art, increasing the fight value, but also lowering the cost to recruit allies. A lot of the fights cannot be done alone, and you will need to use other players to get that extra die roll to have a chance to win. But you can also be prepared with guns and use your extra cards to re-roll the dice to help you as well. You just need to, be prepared when deciding that you're going to fight. The resource management is fun to control. There are only 6 of each different resource, and then you can always use your health when you don't have a specific type of resource. So you can be strategic in what you use, which mission you pick, and how to pull off some, crazy choices as playing through the game. The game will feel like you don't have room to kind of move forward, but then slowly you gain more and more resources. You use them to gain more ally dice, and you actually do have a sense that you are progressing in the game as you play mission cards, and you just need to be smart at which ones that you decide to play. I really like the different maps and how, the small changes in the rules really made it feel different, and it continued to make the game exciting as we played through the different maps. The components are great. I love the small tokens used for the resources, and the player pawns are, the shape of chess pieces, which I thought was a, cool little touch to the game. The white hand agents are actually white hands and not just cubes. There are several maps included that all kind of fold out and fit in the box as well. So it feels like there is actually a lot in this game. My kids really liked this game and wanted to continue playing the next mission. Each time that we played it, they, understood how the game worked and enjoyed making those choices with their mission cards as we played through. The theme also is about recovering art and being on the good side, which for me makes it better to play a game like this with my kids instead of, a game where you are the bad guys and maybe stealing the art. So I appreciate the twist to make the game more wholesome for my kids. I mean, it is a family game. So again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are new and working hard to bring to you videos like this one so you know if these games are ones that you want to get to your own table.